Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. My name is Pastor Scott Griswold, and I'm excited to partner with ASAP Ministries to remind you that Jesus is coming soon, and sooner if you and I will get out and join him in finishing this wonderful work. A young boy named Vang was born into a Buddhist family up in a Hmong village in the country of Laos. He helped his father grow vegetables, played with the other kids in the village, sometimes he went to school, and finally he grew up and graduated from high school. Pretty normal life, huh? But then he headed down the hill with his best friend to see the big capital of Vientiane. On the way, they were looking for a place to stay, and they ran into a pastor. Now, a pastor is a rare sort of person in Laos. There are hardly any Christians, and of course, fewer pastors. Before supper, this pastor prayed and thanked to God they couldn't see anywhere at all. On Saturday, that pastor took them to a church. Everything was strange, and Vang was pretty glad when they got away. But not his best friend. He said, "I want to be a Christian." Soon Vang went off to college in Luang Prabang, a good-sized city in Laos. And one day he got a text from his best friend who'd become a Christian. Vang's friend had been praying for him for 4 months. "Hey, dear friend," the text read, "do you know that the person who made a motorbike is the one who knows best how to fix it when it's broke? Well, God made you, and he can fix your broken parts. Stop your studies and come believe God with me." Vang was so moved by this text, he decided to do it. His parents told him, "No way, you can't do that." But he left and took off and became a follower of Jesus. That was wonderful, but he didn't know what to do next. The government wasn't helping him with school anymore. His parents wouldn't help him now. So Vang ended up working 16 hours a day as a security guard. Sometimes he just sat there and cried. But mostly he read the Bible. Matthew 6:33. It was clear. Vang was to seek God's kingdom, and God would provide. Before long, someone said, "You need to go study theology at Mountain View College in the Philippines." He'd never even heard of the Philippines. He didn't have a passport or any money. He didn't even know what theology was. But God knew, and God worked it all out. A few years later, with all kinds of studying and serving under his belt in the Philippines, Vang was back in Laos, ready to serve as a pastor. But a Hmong pastor pretty much needs a wife to be any good in that culture, and there were no good prospects in sight. What to do? Pray, and pray some more. One day his mother called him up. "Have you found a girlfriend yet?" "No, not yet, Mom." "Come on up," she said. "I want you to meet someone." Vang was surprised when he saw the young lady. She was his playmate from the village when he was a kid. "What do you want to do in the future?" he asked her. She quickly responded, "I want to serve God." She wasn't even baptized, but she knew where she was headed. And Vang was pretty sure he better not let her get away. He promptly started studying the Bible with her, and she was baptized as a Seventh-day Adventist. Her father was the chief of the village, not a Christian at all. He wasn't sure about all these changes in her, and now she wanted to marry a pastor? Well, for a long time, he watched Vang until he was convinced that Vang was a good man. "You're welcome here, but stay in your own house when you get married. It's kind of hard to live with Christians." He was simply referring to the fact that Vang wouldn't eat pig anymore. So Vang began to help. There in the village where he got married, he did everything he could to reach out. He knew English really well from his time in the Philippines, so all the children would just pile around wanting to learn English, and he taught them. When there were problems with evil spirits, he prayed and they went away. And Vang just led the people there to know that the invisible God was truly real and could help them with anything they faced. His wife, she would make handicrafts and sell them in the market, and together they tried to find ways to help the poor villagers have a better livelihood. Eventually, Vang was able to grow up a congregation of committed members, and a church was built right there in the chief's village. New groups have since been sprouting up in nearby villages. Some of our stories, like the Miracle Rock in the 10 Favorites book and the gushing streams in Mokjong village, come right from there. Recently, Vang held a Hmong youth camp, the first ever in Laos, and young people came from around the country. Many committed their lives to the Lord, and Vang's strong leadership is such a joy and an inspiration to them in a country where little more than a decade ago, there were almost no Seventh-day Adventists. His cheerful love for Christ is just a beautiful inspiration, and he thinks really strategically about reaching his whole country. So ASAP Ministries has a plan to help him out further. Besides sponsoring his stipend, we want to build a language school next to the church. He has so many students now, he's bringing in others to help him teach. He would also like a studio where he can put the gospel into Hmong recordings and spread them out across the land. There are Hmong in Vietnam, Thailand, and China too. His love, I am sure, for Christ is going to take that message beyond the borders of even his own country. You and I can help. We're gathering $36,000 for the language school and $4,000 for the media center. Our plan is to help build this on our mission trip to Laos this spring. If we can, we'll help build it and then let the children practice their English on us. I hope you'll help us by going to asapministries.org. I want that missionary spirit of Vang to take hold of me every day, don't you? So many people don't know about Jesus yet. That's true overseas. It's true among the many refugees and immigrants right around us. But it's also more and more true among Western people now too. They often don't even know the stories of the Bible. They're ignorant of the God who made them. So let's love like Vang. Let's tell them the good news. Together, let's reach the world ASAP.